All right, thank everybody for coming. Today, the council gave assent to our sixth balanced budget that is focused on and a result of the priorities that the citizens set out for all of us. And today the council passed the amendments to that budget. This budget doubles down on our commitment to public safety and to make sure that we take care of the things, as I said, that the residents told us were important to them: job creation, housing, infrastructure, recreation, streets, and most importantly, public safety. This is the sixth year in a row that we together have passed a balanced budget, just to be juxtaposed from Washington, D.C., that is in gridlock, and the state, again, suffering under a $500 million budget deficit. These budgets, from our perspective, are a roadmap to the future. In 5 short years, by working closely together, both the mayor and the city council, we've gone from a massive budget deficit in this city to a surplus. And on top of that, we're delivering better services. But I have to tell you, this didn't happen by accident. In partnership with the city council, we recognize that we have come a very, very long way, but we have a lot more to do. But our approach has been very simple and very focused. We have cut government where we needed to, where there was waste, fraud, or inefficiency. We have made the tough choices to reorganize the government to make it more efficient. But then we took the savings from that and invested it in the things that mattered to the people of the city. And as a consequence, our economy began to grow at a very fast pace. And you know what? It's working. It's working in a very big way. We just had our bond rating improved for the city of New Orleans, which is a great mark of approval from the folks that watch these things, which means that we're going to be able to obtain lower interest rates and save our residents money. This budget focuses on the citizens' priority, which is public safety, on creating jobs, on fixing the streets, on creating job opportunities for our young men, and making sure that we have affordable housing for our residents. Public safety is our number one priority. We've increased since 2010 NOPD's budget by $31 million. This year's budget includes 15% pay raises for our police officers. It has funding for more than 150 more police officers, and it has funding for aggressive recruitment so that we can hire more police. It also has money for job creation. NOLA Business Alliance, his job is to attract retail and to grow other businesses. Our Network for Economic Opportunity is available to create pathways for prosperity for all of the individuals in this city that are not working but that we know can. It also funds for the first time a disparity study so that we can continue to improve our disadvantaged business program. It includes more money for our kids. We have more than tripled the funding for NORD since 2010. This year, we saw the opening of the Sanchez Center, the Rosenwald Center, state-of-the-art first-class facilities for our children so that we can invest in them early in their lives. It includes $15.5 million to develop affordable housing units, provide housing loans and grants along with rental assistance for our residents. It invests $150 million in streets, with another $150 million that will be available if the millage passes in April. It also includes $61 million for the sheriff to operate a constitutional jail, which doubles the funding that the city and the city council have made in the operations of the jail since 2010. Today, in partnership with the city council, and I thank you all for your tremendous cooperation, and at many of the council members' requests, the council passed amendments today that add $1 million to 911 so that they can have more call takers, giving them pay raises and funds for the consolidation so that we can improve dispatch and response times, a great addition to the budget. Also added $250,000 for the public defender to increase that funding by $400,000 from last year's to stave off the furloughs and to help with the criminal justice system. $138,000 to the coroner so that he can better process autopsies and improve the criminal justice system. $100,000 to municipal court for a mental health counselor, which is so much needed in our community. $100,000 to the Children, Youth, and Families Planning Board would help coordinate services for our kids. And we will do another fiscally responsible thing, and I want to really thank the council also for pushing this forward aggressively. We will spend $1 million this year so that we can borrow additional funds to pay down some of the city judgments that have been just laying in wait for many, many, many years. And I just think this is a very smart step that follows in the pathway of fixing structural problems like the firefighters' pension fund. This is another problem, and I think this down payment is well worth it. The council is going to vote to pass this budget on December 1st. But, you know, none of these things happen on their own. And I want to thank Deputy Mayor Andy Copeland, the CEO, and his staff for the tremendous amount of work, to the people of the city for being involved in the budget process, and finally, to the City Council and to all of their staff. I think these meetings are very long. They're very tedious. The council members, I think, did a spectacular job this year hearing from the department heads and from the community, and have the very difficult job of weighing all of the wants and the needs that people have and making them fit into the resources. These are all tough decisions, but I think that together we have produced a document that the people of New Orleans should be proud of. Again, we have passed 6 balanced budgets. We have approved our bond rating. We have created 10,000 more jobs and great economic opportunities for our people. Our economy is growing faster than it ever has. We have more opportunities for our kids, more housing units for our residents. We have more money invested in streets and street lights. And we are well on the way to completely reforming the criminal justice system. So what I'd like to say to all the council members today is there is a job well done. And I thank you. I commend this to the city, to the people of the city of New Orleans, and say that we have come a long way, but we know we have a long way to go. And this team is going to continue to fight every day to make New Orleans a better place for everybody to live, work, and play. I thank you. I'd like to call up Andy Copeland and then hear from all of the council members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In 2010, you directed our team to make the tough decisions first, to do the hard things first, so that we wouldn't be leaping from budget crisis to budget crisis. And so folks will remember, 10 days of furloughs, a 10% pay cut for every single city employee, cutting contracts, cutting credit cards, cutting take-home cars. That's the world we inherited. And it is a sharp contrast with the state's fiscal posture, where they have been moving from crisis to crisis because they did not make the tough decisions early. So this year, as in the last couple of years, we've been able to produce a budget that allows us to make choices not between bad and worse, but between good and better. And so I want to thank the mayor for his steadfast leadership to give that direction, and our partners on the city council for standing with us, again, to put budgets forward that are responsible, conservative, balanced, and meet the city's needs. I want to compliment the council president, Mr. Williams, for his leadership of the council this year in particular, and also the council budget chair, Councilmember Head, who runs a tight ship. We have long, rigorous hearings, but they're effective. And, of course, all of our department heads and the CAO staff who do a great job of bringing the budget and putting it together. So thank you.
The mayor talked about the gridlock at the Capitol, and he's absolutely right. Nothing seems to get done there. The whole country right now is looking at our state because we're looking past R's and D's and personalities to really focus on real policy and real issues and the things that are important to the state. And we're very close to turning a red state blue. Same thing's happening in this building. People are focusing on the real policies that matter to people's lives, and we're trying to improve the quality of life here in the city of New Orleans. I want to thank the mayor. I'd like to thank his team. Andy Copeland and the mayor would meet with us after our long budget hearings to work even more to try to figure out what we could move around, what we could make happen. And then Andy would go work the rest of the night to try to make it happen, and he did that. It's not an easy job. We were asking for one of the largest reallocations that I've seen in recent history, over $1 million to go to the 911 call center. And they found a way to make it happen. And that's important because the people of the city were crying out about response times. They were crying out about unanswered phone calls and not getting the professional response that they needed at the worst moments of their lives. So I'm very proud that we were able to make that happen in this year's budget. I'm also very proud of the fact that we've been able to figure out a way to pay some very old judgments to people who deserve that money. There are children who when these judgments were rendered, and now they're adults. A very harrowing story about a young man who was living on the street while the city owed him money. And so I think it's a moral thing to do. I think it's a humane thing to do, and I'm very proud of the entire city council and this administration for taking this step to make it happen. A lot of big things have happened this year, from the firefighters' pension to making sure that some of these old judgments get paid, to fixing some of our most troubling infrastructure needs, 911 being one of the most pressing to me, and I appreciate the administration, all of my colleagues' efforts to make it happen. But most importantly, I want to say thank you to the people of the city who also came to these meetings to weigh in so that we could hear from them about what really is happening when the rubber meets the road in their communities, so that we can know what the real priorities are, because there simply just is not enough money to do everything that we need to do. And the one thing I can tell you is we do not want to spend all of our money building the biggest jail possible. We want to focus on the needs of this community. And I think everybody agrees with that. I think the sheriff agrees with that too. So that's our next big hurdle. Thank you.
Most of us have said our thank yous during the budget hearing, so I'm not going to reiterate those. I do think that members of the press may be interested in how we were able to arrive at this fairly seamless result, with most people glad that it came out the way that it did. Of course, every council member did not get exactly what they wanted. The mayor's team didn't get exactly what they wanted. But we came together as a group many, many months ago. The budget process in the last 2 years has started in the midsummer. Started off by Councilmember Guidry holding criminal justice committee hearings during the middle of the year so that we could know what are efficiencies we can bring forward, working with the administration's departments that can find efficiencies in other areas of city government, making sure that all of those criminal justice entities work better and are more transparent throughout the year. Then putting together our collective desires, wants, etc. during those hearings and town hall meetings that the mayor has in every district. So we've been looking at this budget for many, many months now. We've been putting together our priorities for many, many months. So the first budget that came out from the administration for the second year really has taken into account not only the citizens' requests and desires for what I believe are sort of the fundamentals and the basics, but also the council members, because my colleagues and I have been working behind the scenes for many, many months, whether it's through hearings that are in open public, or it's through working with the administration to make different departments function better or to fund them better when we put our list of priorities when the mayor is putting together his budget. So when we got that first presentation of the budget, I think it was a great budget. I think that in the last month, we've made it an even better budget. So again, I'd like to say thank you to all of the people I previously thanked. I feel better about this budget than I ever have on the city council, and I think it's because of a lot of behind the scenes quiet work of council members, other elected officials, the mayor, and mostly our staff in making this happen and making it not a difficult process where we're trading dollars here and there at the very end, but we've methodically gone through this starting in the middle of the year and culminating with a pretty easy process over the last few days.
Good afternoon. Today, I believe my colleagues and I, passed a very prudent and responsible budget for the citizens of New Orleans. As Councilmember Head said, yes, this process has been great, and thank you, Mayor. A year and a half ago when I came in, the priorities up front, and then we worked through day by day after delivery from the mayor of the executive budget. It's been a tremendous honor to work with my colleagues on a multitude of issues facing the citizens of this city. Of course, public safety is one, investing in new technology to catch the criminals, as well as the 15% pay raise for the officers of the New Orleans Police Department. Another thing that I'm proud of today is to stand with with my colleagues in knowing that come January 1st, 2016, the living wage ordinance goes into effect. And I want the working class people to know out there throughout the city that we care, and we stood up proudly, mayor's signature back in August, and now we have budgeted the enforcement, the compliance, increased compliance in DBE, in the necessary pathway to go forward for prosperity. A lot of transportation projects are coming through the loop next year, and looking forward to that airport terminal kicking off the ground. So thank you. I believe all the citizens are going to be happy of the maintenance crew daily in each district. That's going to be very exciting to them. I think we had an alley grader, and I think we'll have increased phone calls. So, but I do want to thank the mayor for his leadership, the entire executive branch, as well as my staff, central staff, and my colleague staffs as well. So, thank you.
I believe the citizens of New Orleans were well served throughout this budget process. It was grueling, but it was the dedication of the administration, my colleagues on the council, and certainly all of our staff members. A lot has been said, so it's no need to go over it again, but public safety, housing, jobs, I think it shows this administration and this council are committed to our citizens. I'm very pleased with the way the budget process ran, and I'm also very pleased with what we were able to get out. From the beginning, the mayor has said it's a choice between what do you need and what do you want. And I think we've made a very good balanced budget that distinguishes between the needs that we have to protect our citizens and to ensure that everyone is giving great opportunities to enjoy this city. So just kudos to everyone.
Good afternoon. I'd say we're getting the hang of it, is what I'd have to say. We're starting to work like a well-oiled machine here on the budget, and it's just something that you can really sense this year. I want to congratulate the mayor and Andy Copeland and their team for continuing to stand strong and make those hard choices on the kinds of budget problems and funding problems that have continued to dog this city for years and sometimes decades. They have decided to take these things on and fix them before the mayor leaves office. And I've just been impressed with that at every turn. These numbers of consent decrees that we're going in and now getting out of on a number of them, and also the firefighters' pension and back pay litigation. That particularly, we're not just fixing it with money, but we're changing the structure so that those who come behind us will not have to deal with those issues again and will not have the incredible costs that we've had up till now because the problems haven't been fixed. So I think that's a great achievement that the mayor should be and his team should be extremely proud of. I'm also impressed with the way the council and the administration have negotiated during this budget season. We really are communicating on a better level. And a number of things that I've been really thrilled about that got into the budget this year, the raise for the 911 operators raise and increase in numbers. This consolidation is extremely important when it happens. It is going to improve our system greatly, but we need to be prepared for it. We need to have the resources and the staffing and be able to keep that staff leading into the consolidation, and I think that what we've done in the budget now will help that to happen. And last, I would say second last, public defender is we have to have every part of our criminal justice system working, and you can't have a resourced and staffed DA's office and have that be a benefit unless you also have a resourced and staffed Office of Public Defender. So I think that's vitally important for our criminal justice system to improve. And lastly, it would be to mention the prevention, the aspect that we're not just looking at, prosecuting our violent criminals, putting the money to the end there, the back end there, but we're also putting money to the front end on prevention and adding for the first time funding for the Children and Youth Planning Board, I think underscores that. So thanks to all our staffs.
Thank you very much. This is a good team. The mayor should be congratulated. The council should be congratulated. In particular, the president of the council and the head of the budget committee should be congratulated. I'm not going to repeat what others have said, but there's an ancient saying that says the leaders are like the wind and the people are like the grass. The grass bends in the direction that the wind blows. They're wrong about that. The people are the important part of this process. We bend in the direction that you blow. And the people of this city have done well, the only other person who had a chance was Galveston. Galveston was devastated about like we were over 100 years ago. They never came back. But the great people of the city of New Orleans have seen to it that the city of New Orleans is on its way back. We have great leadership, but what makes us a great city are the great people of this city, and we're going to do even better in the future. Watch us. Thank you.